streets. In drive home traffic, we have cloudy skies for you this evening. 84 degrees the high temperature here in the nation's capital. Scattered thunderstorms all lined up for tonight. There's a 60% chance of rain in the forecast. And those gardens will do pretty good with some water, right? 75 degrees is the low tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy, and we're brought to you today by Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions. BTC every day, the new Samsung S6, now in stock. Super Value, the all-behaving supermarkets, the McKinney Media Group for effective PR concepts and advertisements. Island Made Products, the Ministry of Tourism, AML Foods, Solomon's Fresh Market, and Cartwright. Also by the Bahamas Hotel Union, Catering and Allied Workers Union, Advantage Insurance and Brokers on 61 Collins Avenue, Super Wash with 11 locations, open 24/7, runs electric motors on Wolf Road, Sky Bahamas, Seafowl, Kalina Financial Advisors Limited, Executive Printers, Henry F. Store, the light people on Mackey Street, and Le Bleu Ultra Pure Drinking Water. Today on the show, we are opening our lines for you for a good dialogue and conversation about something that's basic that we seem to be losing: caring for others and looking out for their best interests. So many people today, my friends, without anybody to back them up on things that they have been not really dealt with fairly on. And as a result of that, we've got a lot of frustration in the country. There's this thing that we like to talk about that's called the misery index. And the misery index is actually growing in the country because a lot of things are just seething, smoldering under a lot of problems and frustrations. A lot of people don't feel good about a number of things. And there are persons who are in position to do better, to make the situation better because they have the authority. But they have no compulsion, no kind of interest, it appears, in trying to work things out for some people who have gone on a bad way because of circumstances. For instance, city markets. Man, city markets has been closed from 2011. Those poor workers at city markets, many of them I know, they're doing bad. And nobody seems to be checking for their situation. These are Bahamians too, who have served the country well, and we've had great days when city markets was in its heyday. When Jim Bradley and those people were to the Bahamas, these folks at city markets, they were able to really get a real income, and they were taken care of. They built up a wonderful pension. They built up all kinds of monies that when they retire, they would get some monies. City markets changed hands as far as management was concerned and ownership, and then something happened. Some Bahamians got involved, and they tried, I'm sure, to help city market prosper, but it didn't happen. And as a result of it, they seemed to fleece, were able to take everything from the people at city market, including their pensions. And the people of city markets, a great deal of them, have nothing. They're crying and they're frustrated. And I felt their cry and their hurt because my wife worked at city markets one time ago. And so I know a lot of people. And the good thing was that she was able to get her settlement when they were closing out. And I believe, if I remember correctly, was perhaps the last person to get a settlement before they decided they weren't giving anybody anymore. So we thank God for that. But the point is, there's so many people who did not get served. So from a point of view of people wondering why I bring this topic, is because it is an urgent matter of good Christian love. We are not doing some things. We're so caught up with all the other politics and everything else, and the bitterness of politics, the nastiness of politics. This budget that's happened is a nasty thing that is causing a lot of nasty arguments and a lot of nasty feelings between the two major parties, and I do dare say between some members in media and members of that particular governing party. And the way that things are going now, to show you how serious this country is becoming, we've got to be very careful. The way things are going now, I can tell you that there's an attitude that says there are certain people who are hunkering down and getting ready for elections in such a way that they're playing a game of spite because they have the might. They're playing a game of, if you don't sound like you support us, we're going to try to crush you. I know firsthand what I'm talking about. I'm prepared to say that today and leave that there for the moment. But it is a very ugly thing for those persons who are in authority, who have the governance of the country, who have what I would call influence in the business community, who have been great business people in this country, to not be able to look out for some people who have been mashed down. The people at city markets have been mashed down. Let me tell you that right now. They've been mashed down. They're at their wits' end. These people at homes, they're losing their homes. These people are not well. They are becoming ill because they can't get their monies. You know what it is to lose your job and worked all your life in city markets, and you can't get paid because the people squandered your pension. They have nothing. The people at city markets have nothing. That's the bottom line. Now, how are we in this society supposed to deal with that? Are we to look at that and say, well, are they PLPs or are they F&Ms? Are we not supposed to say, are they behemoths who work for their money and should have what is due to them? No one is checking. The system is so clogged with all kinds of nonsense that mitigates against these people in city market that they're not getting any breakthrough. I'm sure they've gone to lawyers and all this kind of stuff, but nothing is happening for these people. These are people, women with children in school, women who own their own homes and are now losing them. They're men who have worked all their life in this place. And the people who are considered to be the culprits are driving and riding high on the hog and living in foreign territories and all kinds of stuff. They're not interested, it appears, in the welfare of these people. And do you know something? I want to stop for a minute and just tell you something that may shock you and may not, because some don't really give a damn anymore. You know something? The people who perpetrated this thing upon the city markets people, those many former employees, they are considered to be big-time government officials. And you know what happens? People get to hate political parties who, in fact, may have affiliates in their party who have not helped these people. In other words, people then turn against even governments because they aren't served, because no one looked out for their interests. Do you get me? This is a real problem. Now, since everything in this country is very political, everything is very political. I mean, everything is very political. We are politically polarized. I tell you today, the words are, if you seem like you don't support us, we're going to crush you. Could you imagine that? So I'm saying this to here today. The workers of city markets, they've tried everything. They've gone everywhere. See, some of the people who are involved in this nonsense that happened at City Market are sitting in the House of Assembly, So is it any wonder that some people with a bad attitude are not checking for these city market workers? Is it any wonder? The other day, the old warehouse what the city market people owned, that burned down. The pensioners owned that, burned down. They are not getting, whereas it looked as if they would have been able to at least rent that out and get some incomes and get some things going, nothing's doing. Who is looking out for these small people at city markets? I want to ask you that soberly today, Who's looking out for these people? What are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to join the welfare line and say, well, we've forgotten about them, while some people who had everything to do with the destruction are riding high on the hog? Who's going to look out for these people? And so I want to tell you, friends, just so that you can understand something, there comes a time when we've got to be our brother's keeper. Somebody's got to look out and say something on behalf of these people, and hopefully the authorities, whoever they are, and they know who they are, will get a conscience and try to do something for the people. There are many of them who have died. My records say that about 40 of them have already died, waiting for their monies and their pension. Are they waiting for them to die out? I plead on behalf of the people of City Markets this afternoon on hard copy and give them a few minutes. And I haven't spoken to any of them, I read the newspapers. I see what is happening. I meant to talk about it. And here it is today, When you read and you see persons who you know complaining and talking to the media about the fact that they can't get served, no one is checking, they can't get their monies, they're losing everything that they ever worked for. And this is not anybody's business. Where are the members of parliament who go to the House of Assembly to talk about, on behalf of people? Who's looking out for these people? There are too many of our people who are falling on the wayside, falling by the wayside. No one is looking for them. I was happy to see yesterday that Reverend Simeon Hall has taken up the mantle again to look out for the people of Clico. See, these are all problems that still plague us. No one is looking at them. This Clico matter that happened, I mean, look what Clico came to town. The government should feel accountable for some of the things that happened because the registrar of insurance, I think that's his name, the position, they didn't do their jobs. They fell down on the jobs, and people lost money, lots of money. All the medical and life that they were paying with Clico just went down the drain. The place has been closed down now from 2009 or somewhere around there. I mean, and nothing is happening on behalf of these people. You know how many people have died there too? Lots of people waiting on their monies from Clico. This company came in town, did what they felt like, and left town. If we don't have responsible governance to look out on behalf of its citizens, what are we really fooling ourselves about? See, it comes right down to this, what it comes down to, what's going to happen in your family at the end of the day if you don't have the protectionism of a machinery of people in government who are supposed to be looking out for your best interest. What's it really all about? What is this whole thing really all about? Is it only about the petty, spiteful, old-time politics? Is it? Because it seems like only those who are in a particular circle will get served. It seems like nobody checks for these people because they're poor. They have no monies. They're poor. That's why I'm happy to see that Reverend Simeon Hall, have decided to pick up the mantle again, because he had tried so before, along with several of us, to get something moving on this Clico matter. And he had several meetings at his church some time ago, and I think he may have had one or is going to have one sometime this week, if he didn't have it last night, to get the information rolling again to see if something can happen for the thousands of Bahamians who've lost money in these bad insurance deals. Why do I bring this up? We had a point where people can't take no more. Remember we talked about the misery index? People are at a point they can't take it no more. You know what it is to lose a home that you work for all your life? You know what it is to lose a job that you've been in all your life? You're now 45, 50. Where you going to go work again? And it's all because of slackness of those persons who are in charge of this country who don't seem to give 2 cents about these kinds of things. Look at the banks that are closing down in this country and people are being put out of work. What is going to become of them? And you're wondering why there's crime. What's going to become of these people who had worked all their life, lost their homes, and will lose their homes because they have no job? Where's the safety net? Where's the kind of, I suppose, creative thinking, the innovation to look into these areas, these sectors where these things are happening quite frequently, and do something to stop it? Nothing. So when you really look at it, when you peel the skin back on this stuff, you know what you're looking at? You're looking at people who only care about them and theirs. The average citizen has no protection. Not even through proper legislation to protect against this kind of nonsense that happens in our country. What's going to happen to these people? And aren't their children going to be angry? Because they grew up in a home and now they're on the streets? No, don't think this is exaggerated. This is not exaggerated, friends. This is a reality. You see, we've been so busy politicking, so busy looking at this PLP, FNM, DNA, and that it has its place. We've been so busy looking at the corruption and the appearance of corruption in government, in immigration, in police, and all that, we are missing some basic human elements in our lives. We've denigrated the church. We've told them that they don't make any sense. We don't want to hear from them. And these are people who you don't expect to hear these kinds of things from, running down the church and telling the church, go sit down. Like, we don't expect to hear that. What kind of Bahamas is this? Why should we want to be a part of this Bahamas? This crazy thing that we are doing, not knowing how to look out for people, to make sure we've got policies in place that people don't come in and exploit Bahamians and mess their heads up. We're having suicides in the Bahamas. I mean, Bahamians like to live, but we have people who are committing suicide. That's pressure, you know. See, you don't know what a man is going through when you play your petty games of politics. You don't know what is happening. You just decide that you're going to play your petty game of politics because you could. And it doesn't build the country. You see, when we look at this whole matter that Christie has come on the table with, a stronger Bahamas, I say it every day, we should be building a better Bahamas. We should build a good country. I believe that. That's my philosophy. That's what I've been talking about from I've been on the radio. That's all I say every day. We're building a country. You cannot build a country with partisanship. You need all on board. You cannot speak in a way that's partisan, even if you're rebutting somebody and speaking to them in a derogatory sense, as speaking down to them, and still at the same time say, but we're trying to build a stronger Bahamas and we need all hands on deck because this is not a partisan thing. What kind of nonsense is that? That's convoluted, you know. That means that you really ain't straight. You're not talking to us straight. You cannot on one hand say that you're building a country and you want all hands on deck, but you are doing things and operating by kisses go by favor. People aren't stupid, and they see straight through it. So there's no matter how much you shout and carry on bad and threaten people, they see straight through it. If we're going to build a country, we must come together and build this country. And that means all. That means Bahamians. That doesn't mean PLP. We must not look at people as labels of political parties. And that's what we are. And as a result of that, the people of city markets are suffering. I tell you so. And if you know the people who are involved in the city market scenario, you may not be shocked. But it will cost you to open your mouth a little bit. The same players everywhere. I feel bad about the people in city markets who have not been paid. They're having a showdown to just try to get their pension. Could you imagine this? What kind of country is this? The people made their contribution to their pension and they got to battle through court to see if they can get it from these fellas who inherited it when they took over city markets. And you want me to feel good about that? I cannot, my friends. I make no apologies for it. I cannot feel good about that. I think it's a nasty thing. And see, my problem, I understand, is that I say these things just as I feel them. You know why I say it? Because it needs to be said, and there are people who are suffering who aren't in the best position. And there's great fear in this country, too. The fear in this country is that if they say something, they will be victimized. If they take a position, they may lose business. If they speak the truth, they may be crushed. Imagine that. I was making a statement today. I spoke with the chairman of the PLP, Bradley Roberts. I called him and I said, Mr. Roberts, I noticed that everybody in media has gotten advertisements for the Stronger Bahamas campaign, but not peace. His response was this. How you expect to get anything? How you expect to get anything? And you're beating up the government. My response was, but I'm only saying what's in the news. I'm doing the same thing as Wendell Jones, The Guardian Radio, The Tribune Radio, every other radio show. But how come? Nobody can answer that, you know. I'm showing you something. My friends, this present government is now in election mode. And it's evidence that their position is this. You sound like you don't support us, we coming for you. That's the country that we're running. Now, never mind that you have invited them. And this is something I want to say, and I must say this. They've been invited on all these shows. It's been their prerogative and their decision not to come. How do you go and try to justify that you are not sending ads of trying to bring people together on all the stations, and you want me to believe that you are building a stronger Bahamas? What foolishness. How do you say that this is what you are doing to bring about a togetherness of people in one spirit, and you are taking sanctions because one speaks the truth, one gives the facts as they are in the newspapers? Just what's in the newspapers is what hard copy talks about. I can say that publicly without fear of favor, fear of contradiction. Whatever you see in the public domain that is happening, we talk about like everybody else. So what's with this spiteful attitude? The spiteful attitude just tells you this is symptomatic of the bigger picture of we are powerful and you better talk how we want you to talk, or it's amazing, eh? See, I'm showing you that. That happens with me. That's fine. God has blessed me. We'll be fine, and we are doing fine. Praise the Lord. But you see, there's some people who do not have a microphone. There are some people who are hurting, who have been hurt by these same fellas. And no one's checking for them. That's egregious. That's a sin. That's not right. But this is the country that we live in. And we pretend as if this ain't so. Like, you know, well, you better don't say nothing because you know the fellas them, they ain't gonna get. Listen, man, God is my source. Let me tell you that right now. God is my source. And God is the source of all things that happens in this world. Those who think that they are powerful can be struck down in a blink of an eye. Don't forget it. But when you are not fair with people, you bring about a problem in a country where people decide that they can do things how they see because they know they're not going to be treated fairly. We can't build a country like that. We cannot build a stronger Bahamas like that. I want to say that to Mr. Roberts and all of them. You cannot build a stronger Bahamas by being petty and small and nasty-minded. You cannot. You may not like the fact that there's criticism on public radio, but you live with that. I mean, you know, come on. We've been in politics all this life. You have to roll with it. But, you know, the bad thing is this. If somebody had not given you a fair opportunity, I can see that. But let me show you my proof of fair opportunity. And you know my record. I told you this last week. We noticed that these guys in the Progressive Liberal Party, the governing party, have not been appearing on these shows. They are accountable to the people, you know. They represent representatives of the people. So I wrote on May 18th to make sure that we get these people on the show so that we can hear them, so that we can know where we're going, so that we can build a stronger Bahamas. Michael Alcides, Thursday, May 21st, no show. We're supposed to talk about value-added tax. Kayla's Roll, Friday, May 22nd, National Development Plan, no show. Kendra Dossett, Tuesday, May 26th, Environmental Concerns, no show. Jerome Fitzgerald, Friday, May 29th, Education and General Politics, no show. Hope Strachan, Monday, June the 1st, Financial Services Sector. These are things that we put out there and invited the PLP's chairman, Mr. Roberts, to share with those ministers to bring them on so that we can all be edified and understand where we're going. No show. On Thursday, we have Glennis Anna Martin scheduled to talk about flight information region, transportation, general politics. We don't know if she'll show. Allison Maynard Gibson is scheduled for June the 8th. The progress of the implementation of swift justice and the courts. We don't know if she'll show. Danny Johnson, Wednesday, June the 10th. Youth, sports, and culture, the big picture, international meets and all that. Will he show? Philip Brave Davis, June the 12th. Governance and other matters under his portfolio. Will he show? Bradley Roberts, Monday, June the 15th. I hope he shows. Because I believe that we need to hear from those who run the country. As one of the producers of Hard Copy, we've sent out this letter of invite. So you can't say that somebody talking bad about you if you are not prepared to come, sit down, and speak to the issues. The news is the news. We don't make the news, you know. We present the news. We give you the facts. If they're wrong, we are open to correct them. But see, this is what the problem is. The problem is, my friends, that we seem to be in a position we can do what we feel like if we're in leadership. We don't have to listen to you all. We don't have to do anything. So when it comes to Hard Copy, we present the facts. And we challenge you on the facts. And if our facts are not correct, hey, you can get an apology. You can sue us. But don't play this game about, well, you know, you just talk too hard about the government. What foolishness. And I deliberately tell you this today to nip that in the bud, because that's not a good course of action. If we are going to build a stronger Bahamas and we want all hands on deck, well, let us do that. Let us be genuine with that. Don't play this game because you know I'm going to say, especially when I know that I treat you fairly and you play a game as if there's something wrong. The general public listens every day to this show. We are heard across the world. The feedback on this show is tremendous. The sponsorship of this show is tremendous. The acceptance and the love of this show is tremendous. So don't come with that about we are too hard when all we're talking about are the facts of the matter. Facts are stubborn, I know. But if you're talking facts of the matter and this is untrue, well, then come and defend it. Call the show and say, hey, you're out of order. But what we're talking about here, friends, is a new attitude of vindictiveness. That's what it is. And as I said, that's fine. Just know that life is a two-way street. Okay? Okay. 325-0235 or 6 is how you can call me this afternoon. 325-02-42043. And you can also call me 325-0252 or 53. And yes, I'm talking in an open line today, and I'm talking about what do we do? What do we do with people who are beaten down, who can't get any breakthrough? What do and how do we help the folks at city markets? How do we get our caring government who believe in Bahamians to take a real hard look at that matter and deal with it? How do we do that? Are they interested in doing that? Are these not Bahamians? How do we do that? We do that by making sure that we put it on the table, that these are the facts. The people at CLECO, what are they going to be paid? What's going to happen with that? Is there any kind of way? The government of the Bahamas, when governments continues, through Mr. Ingram, had promised that they would do something, and Mr. Ingram told the people to continue to pay. Some people continue to pay. nothing's happening for them. If governments are continuous, shouldn't it be that this present government should take a look at this matter for what it's worth and see how they can fix this? I think they should. What do you think? 325-0235 or 6 is how you can call me. Let's go to the telephone lines this afternoon and take some calls. Hard copy, how are you?
Good day, Steve. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Good. I trust me. I feel very proud today because this is one of the times I've heard you speak very strongly, and I hear the passion in what you're saying, both for the ex-employees of City Market and for the way the government of the day is treating us Bahamians. You barely touched on. I heard you when you said you touched on CLECO.
Yeah,
CLECO is one of my pet peeves for the government.
Mm.
And I'm wondering now what type of political football they will now play with CLECO. You mentioned earlier that the government is now in election mode.
Yeah, the government is in election mode. That's obvious to me.
Yeah, what type of football or what type of game? We just had Carnival like two or 3 weeks back now. So what type of party or what type of game or illusion would they put on us now? So I don't know. I feel very, very bad for the people at City Market. I think that should have been resolved some time ago.
Yeah, well, there's some players who were involved in the City Market thing. Jerome Fitzgerald was a player in the City Markets matter. He knows exactly how terrible things are for those people. He was right there. Mark Finlayson is a player in City Markets. They know exactly what's happening. I mean, to me, I see these fellas as responsible individuals and Bahamians who want to make a good contribution. You mean to tell me that no one can see fit to look out for the people of City Market where they had last leave of authority over these things? Come now.
What do you think it would take? What do you think would be that issue or that action to move this mountain to get some type of resolution?
I think that the Prime Minister's office ought to take, and Ministry of Finance ought to take a sober look at what the real dilemma is. Somebody, even the Attorney General's office, ought to take a look at what is causing this problem to mount and to grow, and people are losing. 40 people have already died. Okay, you know what kind of staff you're talking about? The people can't get their pension, what they put in. Come now, somebody in authority has got to take a look at that and deal with that. Somebody in the government. We believe that the government is a government that cares for people. I believe that certainly in my heart. I do, I think that there are people in the government who would like to see a lot of things happen. But because no one talks about it, because we've been drunk with politics to the point where everything is just F&M, PLP, DNA, that we and polarized by it. We are forgetting the basic stuff about how we are to live about as humans. We have to look out. We've got to look out for our people. Our people, people come in, they just exploit us, and they do all kinds of things, and nothing happens. That's the bottom line, except you lose everything you had, and you on the wayside living in an old car somewhere. Come now.
That's one more question, Steve.
We can do better than that.
You mentioned those people, those cabinet ministers and MPs who were invited to your show. They were giving letters of invite.
Yeah, I gave the letter to the chairman, Mr. Bradley Roberts.
To come on those dates.
No. I gave the letter to the chairman, Mr. Bradley Roberts. And of course, Mr. Roberts circulated it to all of them by email, of which I was cued in on. And I do have those emails. So they are fully aware. The only person who answered in the email that I saw of was Jerome Fitzgerald, who says that, Mr. Chairman, you got to check with the Prime Minister and the AG because, we have our own way of doing this PR campaign thing, and they're rolling out something. So around May 18th, I did not know what that was, but we now know what it is. It is Stronger Bahamas that is being done by some foreign international people who are here, which there's nothing wrong with. I said that quickly. That's their right to do that. What they take on the chafing for it is another story. I see Loretta Butler is jumping up about it. I see a number of people upset about it. That's life. That's how people perceive what we are in the Bahamas. Now, they didn't come.
Does the phrase "believe in Bahamians" mean anything to you?
Yeah, that means a lot to me. I was hoping that we really believe in Bahamians because really the truth is that's who's going to build the country. Why are you asking us to build a stronger Bahamas if you don't believe in us?
Well, Steve, well, keep up the good work, and trust me, I like your stance today. You're strong, you're powerful. I hear you. Other people hear you. I'm sitting amongst a group of people, and everyone hears you. Trust me, and they're saying, "Wow, Steve is really put on that today."
I appreciate you, Cole.
You might be the voice crying out in the wilderness, but trust me, you might be a lone voice, but people are hearing you, Steve, and keep up with the good work.
Thank you very much. The key is we have to help the small man. You see, some history. The Progressive Liberal Party has always been a party of the small man, the grassroots, so to speak, the people who are marginalized. Today, I don't know if you can say that that's the same party. They had people who cared about people and looked out for their interests, not this game of spite and hate and that kind of thing. That has no place in the new Bahamas. It has no place in building a stronger Bahamas. You see, your action speaks louder than words. You're saying these pretty words to me, and I want to be a part of it. I'm listening. But you're showing me something else. We can't build a stronger Bahamas until we take care of city market. We can't build a stronger Bahamas until we take care of those persons who are losing their homes. Because we don't have the willpower to deal with the banks. We don't have what it takes to go and say, look, we're going to do something at Central Bank that will neutralize these banks from doing what they're doing at this particular time. This is what governance is. And they know better than me, but the point is, somebody's got to say and remind them, hey, that's what you do. So how many more people are going to lose their homes? See, people don't really feel this until it comes right home to them. It's just like murders. I see where they say the murder rate has gone up 5%. Okay, fine. It's ugly. We are considered to be a war zone in other jurisdictions when you make the comparison about how many people we kill a month and a day in this town. How serious is that? That's very serious. Especially for a place that calls itself a touristic nation. It's very serious. Yet, do you see any meaningful move toward trying to deal with that matter? We play politics with it. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do. Yes, I believe that we should be building a stronger Bahamas. I do. I say it every day. But we have to be honest. You have to start from the premise of honesty. You cannot start from a premise of, well, we can do this, but we ain't want to include that fella. We ain't gonna include this fella. We can do, but we can exclude that fella. If you can build a stronger Bahamas and you say that it's a genuine effort of nonpartisanship where you're going to put all hands on deck, well, then let's do that. You show that to us first and see if people won't come along. But this other thing that we're doing, this can't cut it, man. People aren't stupid. I don't know if those old politicians from back then ain't get the memo, but the Jurassic age has passed. This is a new day. People think in a different way, and they are more civilized. White children are marrying black children. Black children are loving white children. Do you understand that? Bahamians are marrying Haitians. Haitians are marrying Bahamians. Do you understand that? The old things that we had where we are holding spite and grudge, our children have come up and stoke us. Shemas, they are playing in the gates with the children who you say, boy, I wouldn't play them in my day. Get used to it. It's a new day. But this old way of doing business in the new day is not helping us. You know how many qualified Bahamians are here in the Bahamas to do everything that we need to have done? Not only in the hotel business and hospitality, not only in banking, not only in finances, not only in agriculture, but we keep going outside. We are not yet to the point where we believe we can do it. And when the government came along, the party, PLP at the time, and said that we believe in Bahamians, I thought this was the most brilliant thing for a new day. Honestly. Because it meant that, oh, they now realize that we are of age, that we can do some things. I mean, words are a lot that you can say, but actions speak louder than words. Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, good day, Steve.
Hi there.
I wonder if you'd agree with me with giving one George Orwell the Nobel Peace Prize for Literature. He coined the book Animal Farm.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it speaks to, if not all, the majority of all the governments today around the world.
Yeah, well, state of flux, problems.
Thing is, we today in our Bahamas, with the governing party seemingly siding with foreigners, straight up foreigners. We have imagine in a particular out island, we have a group of foreigners who have, quote unquote, formed themselves into a sort of union of foreign
Business people. Yeah, I know of it.
Loosely.
Mm-hmm.
And they control every aspect of government in that island. And I think it's going to spread to other islands for their groupings. And our government seems not to be able to stand for our people in none of the issues. Not handpicking, none of the issues. It's like carte blanche. Whatever you want, you get. If we have to move a Bahamian, we move them. If we have to fire them, we fire them. If we have to reprimand them, we do that. But there's no standing up. There will be no issues where someone can say, well, that's got to be voiced in a public arena, and maybe that person might get satisfaction. It doesn't happen today with our government.
No.
It's sad, growing, and the people are becoming more angry, and it's affecting more people daily.
Of course it is. I know it, and I'm saying, you see, the members of parliament, they know you know. They, believe me when I tell you that they know. They're not divorced from, but they don't have what it takes to try to turn it around. Everybody who's a member of parliament ought to be looking out for the welfare of their people, whatever constituency it may be, whatever island it may be in.
But it seems something is missing because they don't realize people is the country.
Yeah, well.
The investors will leave.
We've got to do more.
Have a good day.
I agree with you. We've got food for thought. We've got to do more. I was talking with some people on the islands of Cat Island and Exuma. Poor people. Poor by our standards because they ain't got plenty money in the bank, but they have access to plenty land that they can't get cleared up through the courts because nothing's happening. And they gave me stories that I shared with you. It talks about the fact that they can't get anything done and people have taken their land and governments have been in part of this kind of thing. And they've openly said that. Not one person responded. See, because they know that in the Bahamas, you make some noise, you go quiet, people forget, we move on to the next topic. But I'm telling you, what we are building up, my friends, I tell you today, is quiet resentment that's going to just jump out at us as a country. That's what's happening here. Because there are too many people who feel in it and too many people who know that they're feeling it and don't give a damn. How can some people sleep when they know their involvement in this whole city market thing? How can they sleep? The people are dying without their money. People are losing their homes. The people have gone to a low level. And we are walking around pretending to be that we important. You know, this is painful. This is painful. Very painful. That's why, to me, it doesn't matter that these same individuals who walk around pretending. That's why they can go into Marathon and pretend to have a meeting and broke up the meeting of the people who are concerned if they got cancer. Serious thing. But again, only he who feels it knows it, you know. 325-023546. You can sound off. I'm listening. I'm opening the lines for you today. I just thought I'd put those two topics on the table today because of the fact that we are not looking after the people who need to be looked at, and that's just one of the problems. There are people at the Ministry of Works. The guy keep calling me. They can't get paid. They working in a hazardous environment and can't get paid. They're the people over at the hotel. Well, how do you expect the foreigners to treat these people any better if we are leading by example as to how you mistreat people? Can't get that gratuity pay. Does anybody care about that? Sending people home even though there's a heads of agreement that says you can. They got away with it. And in most cases, it's the same fellas who walk around with these suits with cigar out the front of their mouth. They're the big boys, and they really, people are suffering. You really want to know? That's the misery index. And we can walk around as if everything is fine. Man, Guardian, please. Let me just tell you that right now. We got to stop this foolishness in this town and play fair and be honest. That's what we've got to do, you know. That can solve many problems if we just be honest and play fair. I suppose those two things don't really exist in politics, do they? Hard copy, how are you?
Hello, good day. Mr. McKinney, do you have an advertising company? Hello?
Yeah, where are you coming from today now? What is this? I don't have too much patience today, I know that.
You don't have too much patience with me, seems like, when I call you.
Yeah, well,
Why? I'm
yeah,
just a regular caller.
You might cross.
Got the call.
Menopause, you might cross.
Thought that was getting on your nerves.
Menopause, you might cross.
Simple question, pardon?
You might cross menopause.
I'm not a menopause. I'm a Bahamian. I'm asking you a serious question, sir.
Yeah.
Listen. You're going to entertain my call today or not, or what?
And I got you on there. What you want to know?
Okay, I just asked the question. Do you have an advertisement company? I
have the McKinney Media Group. We do everything.
Okay. Now, another thing. The guy who, the entertainment, the major entertainment feature for the Junkanoo Carnival, what's it, Michelle, what's his name?
Man, I don't know what you said. Talk to me. Tell me what you said, because I don't know what you're asking me.
Being paid. The gentleman who was the feature.
You mean the artist? You mean the artist who was here for the carnival?
Yes.
The artist, his name was
the main artist.
Montano.
That's it. What's he paid?
You asked me if he was paid? I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. Listen to this now. Here's what I want to say. See, the Bahamian people have to understand this, right? Mm-hmm. The government works for us. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
This government works for us. I heard you made a comment because I was listening. You said, someone said, who was that, by the way, who said, talk too hard about the government? Who was that? You say Bradley Roberts?
Well, then if you hear me say that, why you ask me who was it? That's what I said, right?
I just wanted to make sure. Okay, yeah, listen. Right. They work. Hello?
I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, they work for us, don't they? Hello?
Ma'am, I'm going to cut you, man. Make your point, okay?
Yes. You know what, Mr. McKinney? I'm not going to degrade myself. I'm not going to be below you. I'm going to say good evening to you because I call you.
Thank you. Yeah, you got to, when you call the show, you asking me these things. I already said that. And she's always been difficult, but God bless her nonetheless. It's just that, we're talking about something that's very serious. She talking about I never mentioned this Montano fellow there. I never even mentioned anything with the carnival. Let's be real. We got a country to build, people. This is the reason why people don't take a lot of things seriously. Because we've got people who are, why call a show if you don't know what you're talking about? Why? Hard copy, how are you? Very good, thanks.
Yes, Shoemaker here. I have a couple of comments that will give us leave to think. First, I'd say that this government that we're dealing with is actually not the PLP. They call themselves the new PLP.
Really?
So we can't hold them to any of the accolades and
of the old boys
that PLP has had. What they do now is on their reputation. Number two, we talk about Bahama. Well, the buildings that stand there today, if we don't get it done, it is the end of tourism as we know it. That will destroy us.
I believe so. Okay. I believe it's hurting us right now in a big way. And you know, and I'm hoping that the fellas who are in charge are doing all they can to get this thing rectified.
I'm hoping that they get it done because that will end tourism in this country. The other point is that I remember some years back when Sir Lyndon speak about him bringing his people out of Egypt towards the Promised Land. But little did he know he had 2 Judases with him.
He did?
Yeah, 2. But see, there's a precedent already set about Judas. He only could receive 60 pieces of silver. So 2 of them they only could get 30 pieces apiece.
I see.
And it will kill them.
They got to share.
It will kill them, as it did Judas.
You talking some deep stuff today.
Real. And I am saying to the fourth estate, I'm saying to every individual Bahamian, every individual corporation or government entity that are responsible for the history of a free people to begin to gather that information and begin to put together a time capsule. Because we are now imploding from the inside. And our government is helping us to do it. In fact, they're the salesman going down the street to sell us out.
Yeah. That's what it appears to me.
But they're only going to get 30 pieces apiece. And it's going to kill them.
Nothing more.
And it would destroy their generation. They will not
and legacy. The legacy will be terrible stuff.
Well, you see, some precedents already set in this planet. You could only do so much. And when you reach that point,
that's it.
Comes back and bites you in the butt.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to all of us here, as we look around, we're seeing that the Bahamian almost don't exist anymore.
But nobody cares about that. That's the thing. I mean, and you announce a budget, right? The biggest thing that plagues this country is immigration. You all want to get mad because Steve say you announce a whole budget that is devoid of any aspect of immigration reform to a point where we all want to stop the remittances from going out of this country and stop the bleeding of people coming in and just taking what we have. And you getting mad. There are people who got mad for that. They're thinking that, look, we ain't supposed to say that.
But see, that is the point where we need to begin to pull this information, news clippings, videos, written books by our former leaders who had good sense in running a country. Sir Lyndon's biography and his writings and Sir Clifford Darling, these people were real fighters who fought their way into Egypt and pull us out of Egypt. But these guys turn us right around and send us right back into Egypt. Wow. So there is no generation of Bahamian that would have lived in freedom. All would have born or exist in slavery in Egypt.
My Lord, no new promised land. I got you.
Here's another point, the last one I'd like to share with you. In the budget that was just debated or being debated, there is about $500 million of free money floating around for whomever to do whatever. You still have a budget deficit.
Hold on. Say that again, because I like how you say that.
There is $500 million free money floating around that budget. We're still borrowing money for a budget deficit. Someone need to come and tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, well, there's some guy who believes that when he hears that they've shaved something off the deficit, he thinks that is something to do with the national debt. That's two different things. We still in plenty debt, $6 billion and growing. Debt ratio to GDP still somewhere around 70% and increasing.
It's actually 74.5%.
Well,
GDP.
You see?
So here's what happens. We're going to borrow $189 million to balance the budget, but we have $500 million floating around in the budget, ain't doing nothing.
I wonder what that for.
Budget is simply just move one number to another space, and the budget is balanced, and you still have change.
Yeah.
And I ain't no accountant.
No, but you know,
I have enough sense to know that we have $400 million sitting in the finance that should only be $2 billion for this 400. Balance the budget. We don't need to borrow no more money.
Not an option.
To the national debt.
I appreciate your call.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there's a difference with shaving down the deficit and paying off the debt. So don't get all worked up believing that some big magic has happened. All of us want to have a good country, and I do wish Mr. Christie very well. I do, sincerely. He knows that. But the trouble is, Mr. Christie must also know that when he starts spooking, doing things in the public domain with numbers and his responsibility, we shall speak. We are the fourth estate. Don't forget it. We shall say, well, wait a second, what this is. You mean to tell me we can't ask that no more? Because if we ask that, it means that you're biting the hand that feeds you. You can't get no business. They taking sanctions because you asking questions. Everybody else is asking questions. The Tribune, the Guardian, the Punch, everybody else. So what's this spite? This spite is because there's some people who are just cowards. I'm saying it. They're afraid to come on the show. They're afraid to come on Hard Copy. That's really what the problem is, The problem ain't nothing else. The problem is simple, friends. I put it to you, my brothers and sisters, that those guys are afraid to come and sit in the chair. You know why they're afraid? Not because I'm good or bad or terrible, because I'm cordial. You know why they're afraid? Because they don't know what they're doing. Let me help you think about it. They don't know what they're doing. They can't give you really a good account right now as to what they're doing. So the thing is, don't go there. That's what it is, Don't fool yourself. But I believe that they have the ability, as I said yesterday. I think that they've got great potential. I think that they've got a deep bench. I think they've got educated and qualified people. Don't blame me if you have no confidence or courage. But you do have a good team. But how well is that team performing? 3 years in, and all we did is talk about gambling. You won't blame me for that? I wish it wasn't so. I wish it was that we were saving people's homes. Because we campaign on that. And this is the collective we. When I say that, I'm talking about, that's what they did. But nothing. You introduce value-added tax. I see Alcides in the papers talking about no more increase. I mean, well, Alcides, please. Please. The truth be told is that Alcides has been invited to this show over and over and over again. And Alcides just ain't up to scratch, I'm going to tell you. You want to open that door, I'll show you. You're talking about all kinds of other things when the real questions are, when you come to Hard Copy, what are you doing for these poor people who you gone and take the advice of these New Zealanders to put all this burden on these old people who then pay their dues and got to still pay light bill like me, who's still working and can afford it. Not can afford it, but are able to pay it. Their pension going toward the same thing. What kind of a thinking is that? I don't care what no New Zealanders say. That's not practical in the Bahamas. And I'm going to put that question to you. And how do you answer that? Because the New Zealander was right and he couldn't answer it. And I told him he didn't know what he was doing. With the greatest respect to him. Because you can't take what happens in the UK or any place else and bring it here and say, this is what it is because we want to make it easy. Foolishness. You got all the Grammy them who then send us to school, who then work in the straw market, who then pay all these things and make sure we're educated. Now they're in their age of pension, the golden years, they can't afford it, and we putting it on them, too. And you're beating your chest about you collect $108 million. Yeah, that's perhaps why they wouldn't come, because I'd say that. I'd copy. How are you?
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Good.
That's good. I applaud you, because what you're doing, you're the voice for the people. Okay? You're actually speaking for many of us who are seeking answers that the government is not giving us. Okay? And so when I look at things that are taking place in this country, we are in a sad state as a country today. We are in a serious sad state. When you look at what is taking place, and I will tell you this from my observation and this is my opinion, I believe Michelle Montano was paid already. Okay? Because ain't no international, whether it's a singer, whether it's an artist, is going to come to a country and not get a percentage of what he wants, and then come to a country and not be paid his rest of money.
So what is happening? Somebody is saying he wasn't paid. I'm lost here. Cue me in.
I believe he was already paid. The only people that have not been paid is our Bahamian singers who want their money.
They're nobody. They're nobody. The Bahamian sellers ain't nobody. Don't talk with them. They're nothing.
Okay, but Steve, it is unfair. Okay, it is unfair for you to pay a man who doesn't live in this country, who didn't get his money, and then still turn around and got our Bahamian people waiting, and then you can tell me you believe in Bahamian?
And that
Bahamian first? No, Steve, it doesn't work like
listen,
that.
my brother, see, you don't understand what they're talking about when they say it was a success. You don't understand that kind of thinking, because
Steve, they didn't say this thing was a success. Okay?
Christie said so.
This thing was not a success.
Well, Christie said so. What you mean it wasn't? If the Prime Minister says it was a success, damn it was a success.
Steve, I'm rating on numbers like everybody else. You cannot say something is a success unless you see numbers. You cannot say something is a success unless you see the proof that says it was a success. We have no proof that it was a success. Okay? We have no proof at all. And so even when you look at what is taking place, even with this big website that they post up called Stronger Bahamas, you're going to tell me you're going to call an international Canadian company to man a Bahamian website? And you telling me you believe in Bahamians and you want a Stronger Bahamas? So what Stronger Bahamas you want, and you got an international company manding and commanding a Bahamian website saying you want to believe in Bahamians? Steve, are we serious in our country? We've been talking that for years, Bahamians first. That yes, we want a Stronger Bahamas, but when you look at everything that is taking place in this country, you have foreigners. You have foreigners actually manding, owning, and directing the way we run our own country. Bahamians are not directing this country. So, Mr. Christie, and then they're gonna postpone a whole thing of campaigning the Stronger Bahamas. I don't believe it's because they didn't want to do it. It's because they really don't have the confidence of the Bahamian people in doing it. Okay, because to me, I will say this: I believe this was the Progressive Liberal Party has now been put in campaign mode, and that website is to prove that they're being put in campaign mode. So ain't nobody can come and tell me that ain't so.
Well,
okay, and so we need to this country needs to get its act together. And like Dr. Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles, look at the team, and you can tell its leader. Okay, and to look at the team of what this government has, the leader is sure failing this country.
I appreciate your call.
We need real leadership in this country, because we don't have it right now. And I believe Dr. Minnis is bringing that leadership to this country.
I pray God. Thank you for your call. Friends, you know, I see and I note that people are wanting to always go into this carnival thing. I wanted to start the show as I did to tell you, and we must pray for the people of city markets. There are many families that have been affected by it. And the people of Cleco who have lost their monies and won't get it back, not in this lifetime. We must pray for the powers that be, the powers of our country, the government, to find a way to see how they can bring some resolution. You want to see people support the government? Just do some things that the people are hurting about, and they'll believe. This is now a case of the people not believing in the government. They're not believing in the government, in my view. It's because the government is not showing them that they're interested in them. It's a two-way street. That's what life is. Don't believe that because you're all powerful and mighty today that you'll always be there. England was prime minister once in this country. He's no longer prime minister. There are many ministers who are ministers of the government who are right on the streets like everybody else, ordinary. There's ordinary life afterward. You've got to help people when you're in a position to help people. Can I say that to you? You mustn't get angry and nasty-minded. It has no place in a developing country. We need all hands on deck to build a country. We do need a stronger Bahamas. But a stronger Bahamas has to be where we are sincerely serious about it and honest about it. It must not be this nonsense that we're playing and trying to get political traction on something like this. It's too important. It's too important for us to go down a line of partisanship. So Loretta Butler has a lot of good points that she made, and she's absolutely right. And so Mr. Bradley Roberts, the chairman of the PLP, countered her and said that, she had the nerve to say all these things, but what about all these other things that they did in their time? You see, when I saw it, I said, I'm not even talking about it today. Let me tell you why. I'm tired. I'm tired of talking about that kind of stuff between warring factions who are from the old school in such a way that they can't see anything else than they right and this one wrong, or you all do it too, so we doing it too. We have got to build this country, friends. The country that we are building today should include a lot of our young people who have great ideas, who want to see a good country, who wants to have a place in the sun in this country. We are on the scene too long. How long you want to be in charge of this country, Mr. Christie, Mr. Roberts? How long? When are you going to let some other people be a part of the country? That's where I'm coming from today. Paradigm shift. The country can't grow with old ideas only. There's space for people with experience, yes, but there's a new country of new people who want a chance to do their thing too. And they can't get a chance because these fellas been around so long, still trying to control every damn thing. Come now. We must be more reasonable than that if we really want to build a stronger Bahamas. We have to be more reasonable than that. And we've got to be honest. You hear me say it again? The honest thing is this. What plagues the Bahamas today? Immigration, we're overrun by it. Illegal migration plagues us tremendously. Why are we playing like we don't know that? You want me to be a part of something and you can't be honest with me? That's our big thing. We've got to work on that. What else plagues us? Crime. Violent crime in this country. We got to work on that. We are not going to get the kind of tourists that we want here. We're not going to get the kind of rave reviews that we want to bring people here because this place is, we got to fix some things. I do care about this. Genuinely care. And I'm not so sure everybody cares. Cleanliness is next to godliness. What kind of nation is this when we can't even keep the sidewalks clean? Huh? All we can think about is having fun. Listen, all work, or how they say it, you cannot do all this thing all the time, play. You've got to, it's a mixture of things. There's a time for everything. This whole thing about the Junkanoo Carnival, Mr. Major, Paul Major, who is a dynamic accountant, he's a Bahamian. I never will disrespect the Bahamian who has talent. If you notice my show, I always say it. I show you that. But Mr. Major has made some decisions or has made some statements that they're not real. They're not realistic in my mind. But of course, he's smarter than me. He knows how to count numbers up to millions of dollars. I don't. Make no pretense. But when you're going to tell people, logical thinking, rational people, that little thing that we had down there that day could impact the GDP by 60 million, and you can have an accounting in 21 days, and you don't do it. You don't speak before you have your stuff together, That's a promise. Now you then broke that. People ain't got no time. A fella text me yesterday, say, man, and he said 21 days. Well, 21 days gone, he's not a man of his word, but I won't cut him off like that yet. I believe that, he has some things that he's got to add up and all that. And once he adds it up, we'll get the report. He can't run away from it. But, making statements in the jubilation of a moment can cause people to say all kind of crazy things. And I believe, to me, let's look at it, friends. I only give you the facts, I don't give you no kind of, man, he must be, no, he says 21 days. He said it on the show. Didn't happen. Yesterday was 21 days. Actually, the 31st was 21 days when we made the statement. So we got a couple extra days. Maybe you should give him another 5 days grace. Maybe he'll have it done between then and now and then. But when you have this being made by him, the chairman, and every day you pick up the newspapers you see, Bahamian entertainers not yet paid for Carnival. Vendors not yet paid. This one not yet paid. That one not yet paid. The only thing that has to go inside is now radio stations not yet paid. But they probably have some difficulties in the accounting, so I believe they can pay. I believe they can pay. I believe people should sit back and relax. They can pay. They can have to pay. I don't know what's holding them up, because if the government budgeted out $9 million, maybe that was just talk. But Christie said that we already spent $9 million, and this was a successful spending of $9 million. He said that the morning after, that first Monday morning, go back and get your newspaper, that's what Mr. Christie's headline was in the National Guardian. It was a success. I told you yesterday, Mr. Christie probably believes success is seeing people. See, he's a politician. People mean something to him. They votes. So maybe he saw success from there. But I said to you from that day, I question it. What success? Go back to that Monday. Get the tapes of Hard Copy and Hemi. You cannot say success and you don't have the accounting. I told you this. This is elementary. It's not a success. A success after we know what the funds were. And even if they didn't meet their target, it was a success that people came and they participated. That's good. That's good. But you see, when you go and you put these headlines as a success, you got to come now and back that up with your figures. And that's where the problem is. And that's where people lose confidence. They don't believe in you when you do that kind of stuff. They think that you're trying to fool them, to put it very humbly. You're trying to fool them. The aim is they ain't want to be fooled. So we got a problem. The entertainers have not been paid. I don't know where this Montano thing comes in. I believe that he was paid up front. I don't think that he'd come in, perform, and not be paid. I think that he was paid. Not all the entertainers were not paid. One or two of them were paid, but the majority of them were not paid. The entertainers who were not paid, for the most part, as I told you, they appealed to me, and I just put the show off because I said, give them a chance. That's the kind of fair and balanced I am. I said, give it a chance. Let's wait and see. Give them at least 5 days grace. I told you on The Nation, right here. Didn't I? Give them a couple of days. Let's see what happens. But you see, the thing is, the artists feel insulted because they then show them off saying that these artists who are performing for blah, 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 they'll get 20,000 or 50,000, whatever it was that did. And that ain't happened. All right? So, the Junkanoo fellas. I saw JJ say, JJ, you get paid yet? JJ said, I ain't get paid yet. You got to be patient. If they ain't have the money today, they'll have it. They can pay you. Don't worry about it. But the fact of the matter is that I'm not sorry that people are body slamming Paul Major and this Junkanoo group and Roscoe Dames them. I'm not sorry about that. In fact, they need to get more body slam. I already told right on this show, I said, they all should be fired. They don't know the hell they were doing. They should be fired, every last one of them. Paul, Roscoe, Ed Fields, Freddie Munnings, Jr. especially, because he is the one who's supposed to have looked out for these Bahamian artists in such a way that nothing like this could have happened. They all fail on their watch. But they'll all be right back. They won't fire them. No, sir. They'll be right back next year. Hard Copy, how are you?
Hi, Mr. McKinney. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
All right, you're doing a wonderful job. I feel just like what you said. So I believe, the artists will be paid. And, it's kind of disappointing that the only way a lot of people see success with the Junkanoo Carnival is with, the heads and beds, heads in somebody's hotel. We have to remember that never before was so much money invested in Bahamian culture as far as promoting the Bahamian artists. to have a stage where they could be seen internationally. And even though there might not be a lot of international people there, this time they're watching it on the internet. The buzz has definitely gone around the world about what Junkanoo Carnival is about. And I believe that a lot of people will be making plans. You know, Americans aren't, and people, I could speak for Americans, they aren't like Bahamians who just say, oh, let's go away Saturday and hop on the plane and go. Americans plan their trips.
Yeah, that's true.
A year, 2 years ahead of time.
Well, that's true. They plan their vacations.
Yes, sir. They plan 1 and 2 years ahead of time. If you could remember in the press, there was all this talk about, you know, they have too little time to prepare or promote what's going on. They have too little time. They only have 3 months left. So it was known from the beginning that there wasn't enough time to fully promote this thing to get tourists in the country internationally. And so when you look even ain't called for this, you know. But anyhow, when you look at the amount of Bahamian people that supported this Junkanoo Carnival, when you look at the people that made money, and these artists will be paid, I believe it's a distraction to be all over the press, but, oh, this one ain't get paid, and that, because when they do get paid, you will see a small sentence in the back of the paper saying Bahamian artists were paid. So I believe this is a distraction because of the budget, and they don't know what to say yet. But going back to this carnival, I believe that it was a success. The Bahamians turned out. They supported it. We enjoyed the Bahamian music, the Bahamian artists, the Bahamian people that made straw. And, you know, there was people who plot the straw on our island, for instance. There was a lady on the radio who said that her contacts, her people that plot straw for her, they are plotting so much straw until she is looking for anybody over the islands who plot. And she gave her a number to get in contact with her because she needed so much straw. So people all over the country felt the money from this Junkanoo Carnival.
I hear you.
That's it. Sorry, sir.
I say I hear you.
So I was enthusiastic just because the Bahamian artisans and everything, you know, was getting exposure. Come to find out the last 2 days, I got a call. Even I ended up getting some of the money. The Junkanoo thing. I saw when people was on Nassau Street, man, look here, the Bahamian entrepreneurship kicked in. Those people was running in those wholesale bars, buying cases of beers and going through the crowd and selling it. And so, Bahamians, I think it was a success. It depends on how you look at it. I don't think that you should just brand it with a dollar value and say, hey, they made 500,000 extra. That's a success. I think that even if they end up in the red or they end up not making their money back, I think that it was a success as far as the Bahamian exposure, as far as us having pride in our Bahamian culture, because the thousands and thousands of people that I saw on Nassau Street and on that walk, I ended up in the parade.
Well, listen there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I lobby for you to be the PR man next time, okay?
You know what is so sad, Mr. McKinney, is that I am just a citizen of the country. I am not being paid in any way. And it's sad that I have to call a radio show and say these things. But from what I saw on Nassau Street, there was no room for any tourists.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for your call.
All right, sir.
Yeah, all right. I know that he has his exuberance to do good. You know, let the fella talk. No problems. But let me tell you this. The reality is that the objectives of the carnival were not met. Not all of them. 1 or 2 may have been. The ones where you talk about the local entrepreneurs being able to be a part of the Junkanoo, that's fine. But the big thing about the carnival was that we are going to promote something called the Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival to bring tourists here, to bring new monies in, to get this economy stimulated. Don't miss that. That's the real McCoy. Now, of course, they started out late. They had a lot of problems, and they didn't get it done. Not this year. Maybe they'll get it done next year. That's fine. But don't be misled in believing that people are wrong because they've criticized your carnival, even though they had fun at it. See, business is business and pleasure is pleasure. You're doing a business, you expect to make money, and you're still supposed to have fun if you're going to be a part of the entertainment. So don't be bad if the Bahamian entertainers are upset that they have not been paid. They were not treated properly in the first place. We told you this. They were not. They were an afterthought. The whole thing is a learning experience. There's nothing wrong with that. We can learn and do it better. But some fellas got to be honest. That's what the bottom line is. Honesty is the best policy. Be honest and say, look, this is the deal. Come clean. No, we didn't work out well, but It was a good experience, a good trial run. No question about it. But all this big to-do that we made of it, that it was the biggest thing that ever happened, that it was something that we could put a feather in our cap on. Hold a second. Don't do that yet. Not just yet. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good day, Steve.
Good day to you.
Just calling to commend you on your show, The Last Word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting show. I listen to it every
Sunday. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I listen to it because I'd rather be listening to facts
mm-hmm.
than to listen to the churches there. And all they talking about is a bunch of prosperity, and they even don't teach God's word.
Wow.
So I enjoy listening to you, Hard Copy.
That's a sad indictment.
At 6.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your call. Let me tell you, friends, we have to be honest. How many times I said that today? You know, honesty is the thing, but we forget how to be that. The church has a role to play in this country, and I think that they're doing basically a decent job of playing their role. You have no idea how important the church is in this country. Thank God for the church. If the church wasn't here, my Lord, if we were left to these wretched politicians alone, oh, the stones would cry out for us. The church is that foundation that has stabilized the Bahamas from time past to the present. Of course, the church has had some difficulties. Members and high-ranking officials in the church have had some challenges. They're human beings. They're creatures of God. They too have sinned and fallen short of the glory. So have politicians. Many of them had some serious run-ins with things that were contemptible in the law. But God is good, and it worked out. We mustn't get to this point where we believe that we're so carnal that we don't need the church or we get cocky, because that's what is setting into the Bahamas. A cockiness that, we could question the role of the church. The church, we can't replace the church. Do you know the amount of things that they're doing in this country? Not all of them are preaching prosperity gospel. Some of them are. I don't have anything to say in their defense. They must know what they're doing. They must know why they're preaching that. But the gospel to be preached is the gospel of Jesus Christ, the one that says that he died for your sins and he wants to make sure that you have a new chance at life again in the thereafter. And we have to walk a Christian journey and not talk it. We've got to, by our actions, you will know us by our love. Yes, they will know that we are Christians by our love. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. They will know us by our love. Can you say truly today that we are a good place by our love, with the murder rate being what it is, with the nastiness that's prevalent in the country, the spitefulness and the vindictiveness? Can they say that we are Christians by our love? The church is there to steady us, to keep us on the right road, if only that. The church is doing a good job. I support the church, and I would wish that you would support the church. Some people want to change their religion from God to politics. Don't do that. Mistake. Why am I telling you that? The people of City Market have been hurt. Politicians know what I'm talking about. They've done nothing to help these people. But they are in the church, on the pulpit, looking all pious in the church. And the people of City Market ain't got no place to live. The poor worker ain't got no place to live. The banker laid off ain't got no place to go. The people at Rubus, the people in Marathon who are hurt, ain't got no hope to look at. Don't mind these fellas. They talk all kinds of stuff. The truth is, If you really believe in what you're saying, you will show the action, not the talk. Never mind the talk. Show me the walk. And you see, you may not believe this, but people all around know exactly what is happening in our country. You know, they're not foolish. They're not stupid. They are not green. The press has done an incredible job of making sure that we inform. This press that we have in this country has been working hard to make sure that we inform. Whether you like what they say or don't like what they say, they have been giving you the information. It's only for you to go and read it or to listen to it on talk radio. They've given you an opportunity to participate. So this old school thing that these guys got about we ain't doing this and no one invite, that's foolishness. You want to be a part of something, just how you get your big PR companies to go and make sure that you can go around and you do the same thing. But you ain't gonna see these fellas. Not this group. Because they ain't ready. That's all that is. Now, when they get ready, you can see them. They ain't ready with information. They ain't ready with courage. They ain't ready with confidence. They ain't ready to face the Bahamian people. None of them are ready to come on any show and tell their constituents to call them right now and tell them what they feel. None ready. I would go on the limb and say none ready. They ain't want to hear that. Because they know that the misery index out there is terrible. Okay, people ain't working. We talk about an escalation in unemployment. See, for us to get positive and to do some things, we've got to deal with the now. We've got to deal with what is reality. You want to talk about all kind of good stuff and pretend like these things don't exist? You're a hypocrite. You can't talk good and ignore all the stuff that's here, festering for months to years, and you don't want to deal with it because it sounds too hard on the government. The government shouldn't feel bad about that. This is the reality. Now we've got to work it out so that this don't be our reality no more. All hands on deck. I'm a willing partner. But don't talk this foolishness that, man, the media has to do its job. And we're doing it. Just like immigration must do its job. Just like the police must do its job. Just like healthcare workers must do their job. Just like the industrialists must do their job. Everybody must do their job, including the politicians, the members of parliament. That's what you are. Politicians are slang. You are a member of parliament. You are there to represent the people. You must do your job. And when you don't do your job, you can't blame nobody else if they criticize you. End of story. 325-0235 is how you can call me. 325-0242 or 43. 325-0252 or 53 is how you can call me today on Hard Copy. You can have your say. My lines are open. I'm listening to what you have to say. I've told you what I had to say for the most part about all these things that are happening. We're hoping that we can get them all together, and we're hoping that some of the more concerned politicians and members of parliament will get involved and see how they can resolve some of these things, because what they say counts. And if they're interested in it, it can get some traction. But if nobody is talking about it and the people are suffering, what do you expect to happen? More problems in our country. Let's run to the break. When we come back, we shall talk more with you. We shall read some text messages. And yes, we shall continue to talk loud and strong, because we know that honesty is the best policy. We know that we shall win, because we are confident in the victory of good over evil. See, we know that. And we know who our Redeemer is. And we know who will provide for us. We didn't know that. So what man hand won't do, man hand will fail, man. Don't worry about man. Man hand can only fail you. The real McCoy is the Almighty. Keep your eyes there. And you keep your hope alive. We're back in just a minute on Hard Copy.
The choices we make can make us, like who we turn to for investment and retirement advice. Choosing CFAL means having a trusted advisor on your side, helping you build wealth and meet your financial goals. We manage pension assets for businesses and offer individual plans to help you design a secure retirement. We can provide brokerage services and comprehensive research support for clients needing a little more investment guidance. CFAL can help you build a portfolio you can be proud of. Visit us at cfal.com. CFAL sees your future.
AML Foods, Solomon's, Cartwright, and Fresh Market have teamed up to give shoppers the biggest opportunity ever to travel the world. Shop Solomon's, Cartwright, and Fresh Market in Nassau and Freeport and enter to win over $30,000 in trips during the travel extravaganza. Purchase these brands: Shaman, Robin Hood, McVitie's, Pepperidge Farm, Vitamalt, Libby's, Sun Supreme, Coca-Cola, Bluebird, Mahatma, Hellman's, Cloric Flash, Pedigree, Suave, and Joy. Buy any four in a single purchase and win over $30,000 in trips and vacations. Shop Solomon's, Cartwright, and Fresh Markets and win big.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, heat and cooling water pumps, generators and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them at 242-356-0249.
Nicole Martin and the A-Team extends a hearty thanks to all members of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union on the recent victory at the polls. The push for workers' equality continues. Better wages, job security. Stand together. The Hotel Union still standing strong.
The taller I become.
Anna, Bill, Grace, Rose, Larry, Mindy, scary names they are not unless they become a tropical storm or a hurricane. And if they do, nobody prepares you better than Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Par Excellence, Par Bar Rice, 5-pound bag, $2.99. Chef Boyardee Spaghetti and Meatballs, 15-ounce can, 2 for $3. Hunt's Ketchup, 35-ounce bottle, $1.89. Ocean Spray, 100% cranberry juice, 60-ounce size, $4.99. Chicken leg quarters, 10-pound bag, 89 cents per pound. Shop Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
When Steve talks, people listen. People listen. People listen.
Welcome back to Hard Copy on this Tuesday. Tonight it's going to be lots of rain in the forecast. 60% chance of rain is what the weatherman says. And of course, for those of you whose roof needs some repairing, well, better be prepared tonight to get wet if it's not fixed. And that's also a sad reality in our country, that people just don't have it. But those who have it, they should give more if they have, eh? What do you think? 325-0235 or 6 is how you can call me. You can send me a text at 376-9234. We've got some time to be with you, and I just wanted to make mention of some of those critical matters that we ought to be very concerned about in the country. And, you know, I can sit there and preach all day long and tell you what my thoughts are. The bottom line, though, is that Bahamians are going to have to get up and understand that in order for anyone to listen to them, they've got to first talk. If you're not talking, there's nothing to listen to. And so if you want people to listen to what you're saying and you have something to say, perhaps you need to open your mouth and talk, because that's what it's all about, expressing yourself. And you can express yourself any day of the week. You know, as I take a look at this whole matter with the carnival people, I can only think that the Junkanoo Carnival Bahamians, those who were involved, that while they will be paid soon, it may be prudent for them to give expression, not necessarily in public radio, but to give expression to the actual committee and try to work out your situation. When I heard of the group of people who were calling me, and I was like, my goodness, there's so many of them. And they're very, very disappointed. You see, what that does, when this thing comes around next time, it's going to be even tougher. The fellas can say, no, you got to pay me up front. I understand that Paul Major may be able to give the Bahamian public some answers just before the Labor Day holiday, which is what, tomorrow or Thursday. And you'll be able to rest on the Labor Day holiday with his information, is what I am understanding now. This is what is coming to me, that something may be said by Wednesday or Thursday of this week. And then since you're going into a long holiday weekend, you may forget all about it or whatever. There will be no instant feedback. That's what I'm understanding. We'll see. Hard copy, some text messages I'm getting here says, I am so sure that Christy was enjoying how you were lotioning him down yesterday. I knew what you were saying was not right. The man is not that smart. And now today's Tribune proved me right. He hired foreigners to write up his budget speech and came up with his new slogan. Now, I think that's an unfair comment. I never lotion down Christy. You got the right show, buddy, who sent this text, because no one ever lotions down. And this is the wrong show. You are incorrect, whoever you are. He says, I am so sure that Christy was enjoying how you were lotioning him down yesterday. Yesterday, I talked about the budget and how Christy and those guys are in election mode. Now, if the fella heard a part of the show, he may not have understood my sarcasm in some of it. When I said Christy is ahead of the game, he is. Christy's ahead of the game on the Free National Movement, because some things have happened with this Junkanoo Carnival that people have not calculated. They're still looking at this thing as this money-making thing. I told you yesterday, this is not about no money-making thing. This is about people. If that's lotioning him down, Christy, then that's what I did. I don't think that's lotioning him down. I think that's saying a fact that, Christy saw success in the crowd. And this group that he has here that's doing this PR, that's his prerogative. The Free National Movement does the same thing, and they have done the same thing in the past. Not necessarily with the budget. I'm not saying that. I'm saying with an international PR firm, they've done that. They've done that. But guess what? They were not so, how do I say it, overt. They were more subtle. Because I can tell you, in 1991, 1992, for the elections, I worked along with the PR team of the Free National Movement. Okay? So you're talking to a fellow who's been around. And I can tell you, a fellow by the name of Roy Burke was here. Roy Burke was a fellow. He died now. He's in Trinidadian. He was here as a part of that arsenal of the PR campaign. So he had a role to play, but he worked hand in hand with a lot of Bahamians who knew and who understand this PR thing. The great Aaron Kiki Knowles, the great late, now he's late great P. Anthony White, Desmond Edwards, and so forth and on. Okay? So, but this, I don't know if they ever went to the extent of a firm this early, 3 years out or 3 years into their term, to launch something. This is a little bit new. This is a little different. This is not normal. But they are doing it, I'm sure, because they need the help. And the media in the Bahamas have been on their case. And I suppose they don't really trust the Bahamian media to the point where they would, work with them. And they perhaps don't even trust too many Bahamian PR firms to the point where they'll work with them in that deep sense. They'll be around. I'm thinking now they have one or two little Bahamian firms who are doing some other work, like do the leg work, that kind of thing, I'm sure. But that's a normal thing. I'm not so interested in that, even though it is an insult, because we have all the people who can do it, And this, major thing with the PLP problem is the PLP problem is a simple problem. They need to be open and transparent with what they are doing and tell the public what they are doing. And the public, being reminded of what they are doing, will make their own judgments. Anything else is trying to mislead us. So this one here says, Steve, the Haitians here aren't taking us serious. They're still sending for their families in Haiti. It is reported that some in Exuma, they really think this country is theirs. Stevie must get like the Dominicans and send all of them home, no matter how long they've been here. That's how people are expressing themselves about the illegal migration problem. And intelligence tells us that there are a number of people who are coming in through, and Bahamians are aiding them in this now. Don't fool yourself. Either Bahamians by citizenship or Bahamians who are natural-born Bahamians, because, you know, that corruption thing, that goes deep, trying to make some money because of bad times. And so there are people who are a part of this smuggling thing that's happening here. And so, yes, a lot of them are coming in through the family violence and then making their way to Nassau. That's public knowledge now. That's why the Immigration Department is all over the place. They're doing their jobs. They're doing a pretty good job, but they need more resources. This one says, Steve, I voted believe in Bahamians. That was a big lie. I live in Yamacraw, family of 6 young voters. My family will change from this PLP this time around. This one says, Steve, don't worry. The PLP forgot that same attitude cost the FM the last election. Just continue to do what you're doing, and God will continue to take care of you. This one says, Steve, many can't walk in the footsteps of hard copy in terms of truth, honesty, and integrity. I'm glad they ain't show up, because them showing up only lowers their ratings on hard copy. Yes, they will sit there and pretend. We don't care for that. We love hard copy. We love our hard copy just the way it is. Humble, honest, caring, and truthful. Amen is what that text said. I appreciate it. This one says, hi, Steve. You can also add the workers of Solomon Mines to the list with Clico and City Markets. That's interesting, because some of the same people who had a lot to do with City Markets had a lot to do with Solomon Mines. That's why I brought it up, you know, so that we can think. Who is this country for? Who are we trying to make it stronger for? Brandon McCartney repeated that same line, I think, in a press release I saw today, because Kelvin Cunningham asked that on my show on Sunday past. Who are we building? Who are we trying to make the country stronger for? Oh, that was Halson Mutri. I'm sorry, not Kelvin. Halson Mutri. For who? I always ask this question. Who are we building the Bahamas for? That's my question I ask all the time on hard copy for the last, 15, 16 years. Who are we building the country for? For us or for them? And I don't just mean illegal immigrants. I'm talking about other people, foreign nationals, the foreign investors, because they can call our people in the hotels any names and nothing happens to them. Boy, one time ago in the Loftus Road and them, you call any Bahamian woman black and ugly, that kind of stuff. That was to get your papers out of this country, because you have to respect this. But this happens every day down out there, the hotel out west. You know, we got to have leadership. Who going to look out for its people? If we don't have that, why wouldn't the foreigners disrespect us if they can get away with it? There's no kind of penalty. You got to ask the question, who are we building the Bahamas for? It's a legitimate question. This one says, the budget is nothing but a dream. I'm not impressed with the budget speech. It is just another speech borrowing money again. What happened to that? This one says, Steve, I want you to please continue on this road straight up to the general elections. Another one says, I don't know where we are going, Steve, but just bring the flag when... This person says, I don't know where we are going, Steve, but just bring the flag when you come it. Oh, boy. Another one says, Mr. Major is off the island on vacation. So, okay, well, maybe when he comes back, he'll give us a report. Thank you very much. This one says, Steve, God has heard our prayers for deliverance. The Egyptians you see today, you will see no more in 2017. This one says, Paul Major is deliberately disrespecting the media and the Bahamian people, showing us who the real boss is. Numbers run things, is what this person says. Well, I don't know. I know that we did a whole lot to make sure the numbers fellas got sorted out. And, you know, they're Bahamians too. And they told us this thing about, you know, why shouldn't we support them? All these other fellas have got all their money. Why should we? Well, you know. See, my thing is this. Simple. Let's do things legitimately. Let's be fair with people. If that's what we're going to do, fine. I won't participate. Don't move me. But if it's going to be fair to those fellas, then fine. But you know something? This nonsense that people don't want to admit of politicians lobbying and advocating for things to happen because of their own special interest in it. And it takes priority over the people's business. That's what they're going to pay for. That's what they can pay for. All of them, whoever they are, F&M, PLP, whatever. You are doing things to enrich yourselves. That's what the perception is out there, my friends. I don't care what you want to believe. The perception out there is that we have people in business doing things to enrich themselves or among their friends, their families, their lovers, and they are not checking for the average everyday Bahamian who just wants an opportunity. See, all these young people, they want an opportunity. The unemployment rate among young right now is at 31% and climbing. That is dangerous. It will climb more by a great percentage because all of these young people come out of school in this month of June. Some will come out on June 6th, some on June 12th, some on June 18th. This month of June is graduation month. Not everybody's going to go to school. We're talking close to 10,000 people. They are of age. They're looking for a job. What do we have to give them? What's there to entreat them to hang around and be good? What are the programs? You can't build a stronger Bahamas in a vacuum. You've got to deliberately, and I'm hoping that I'm touching and reaching some of these people today, the ones who are behind the scenes, pulling the strings to do some things. You don't have to take what I say. You can ignore me because, I know what I'm talking about. But I'll tell you this, you cannot build a country in a vacuum with just a group of people. The country is bigger than just a group of people. This country is bigger than just that little group of people that you move in that circle with. This country includes all of us. You cannot take a budget and try to give the perception that this budget is something of a PLP government from a point of view of partisanship. The government is the PLP right now, and they have a right to put together the budget, but to spend this budget and to allocate a budget that affects all levels and all areas of our country because we're supposed to be nationalists. We're Bahamians first more than anything else. Nobody ought to try to take credit for what happens in a budget by giving it pretty names and giving it some kind of thesis or some kind of special theme. Come now, let us be realistic. This is for everybody. How do you feel when you have the chairman of the PLP saying to the former the former deputy leader of the FNM, Loretta Butler, that they out of their mind and they're crazy and this kind of stuff and all this other stuff, right? It's not harmonious. It is not, what should I say, accommodating. It is not in harmony. It is not cordial. That's what I was looking for. And you're saying, and the other bread, after saying all this, you're saying to the other bread, come now, we mustn't be partisan, we must build a stronger Bahamas. See, listen, man, let's be realistic. That don't make no sense, does it? Sometimes you've got to just do as the good book says, turn the other cheek. You've got to sometimes a quiet answer turns away wrath. You don't have to answer everything. If that's how she feels, fine. But two wrongs do make a right. It further divides us. And that's where we are in the Bahamas, a group of people with one flag, or is it two flags? Divided. And you saying you want to build a stronger Bahamas. How is that going to happen? Boy, that's a serious ambition. That is big. And you starting off on the wrong foot by being divisive, nasty-minded, petty, small. Come now. This ain't the old days. Come now. Let us reason together. We're all willing to hold hands and build a country, and nobody can question my record. None. Just go and take the files. I've been advocating it from day one. Because that's what we need to do to build a country. That's what we need to do. But you ain't going to get people to come on board your ship if you're being nasty-minded to them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, friends. Well, we're going to call it a day because really our time has come and gone, and I promise that I'm going to get off the radio at 7 o'clock every day. I'm trying that now, and I'm doing pretty good right now, so let's roll that jingle and let's get out of here tonight because we've got to go home too and, also pray for the country as I ask you to do. Pray for the leadership, pray for the country because we need to find the right method of pulling our people together and building a country. Let's go home. Our show has been brought to you today by the people who make it happen all the time. We thank them so much and we appreciate them very kindly. Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, BTC every day. The new Samsung 6 is now on the market. Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, the McKinney Media Group for effective PR concepts and advertisement. Island Made Products, Ministry of Tourism, AML Foods, Solomon's Farm Fresh, not Farm Fresh, Fresh Market, and